What up, Sauce Gang, and welcome back to the channel. Hot Sauce Beats here with another dope reaction for you. Well, we got a special one because Animagician just dropped a brand new Dream SMP related video, and this one is called The Secret Reason Behind Ranboo's Death. Now, if you guys are at least somewhat caught up on Dream SMP lore, spoiler alert, you will know that during Dream's prison break, awesome dude or Warden Sam killed Ranboo, and there's a lot of controversy around it. Ranboo's now GHOSTBUR, so he's back but as a ghost, completely different. And is Technoblade gonna get revenge? So I don't know, but I'm pretty stoked for this, and I hope you enjoy the reaction. But before we jump into the video, please help support the channel by smashing that subscribe and like button. It's absolutely free and it greatly helps out the channel. But enough talking. Let's get to reacting and roll that bomb ass intro.
Hot Sauce Beats is finally here. Hot Sauce Beats is finally here. Eat, sleep, make beats. Eat, sleep, make beats.
Hot Sauce Beats. Woo woo. Oh, it's time. Let's go, Sauce Gang.
Ranboo's sudden death during the prison breakout shocked characters and the viewers alike to the core. I mean, you probably expected someone to die, right? Perhaps Techno. People have wanted his catchphrase to be proven wrong for a long time now. Him dying, fighting against dozens of guards while Dream runs off the stage.
We knew someone would.
Possible. Maybe even Phil. Since Dream can bring people back to life, it would make his and Techno's alliance that much stronger if he brought him back. Phil has always been brave and very loyal. He would totally be willing to put his life on the line for Techno if needed. Perhaps even Nikki could have lost a life, and in a fight with Techno and Dream, Sam and Quackly both would have been easily overpowered.
I didn't even think about that. Someone in the syndicate. I mean, obviously, it didn't. Or I guess it did because Ranboo was in the syndicate. So yeah, but like when it happened, I didn't even think about someone in the syndicate dying. Wasn't sure who, but you knew with this massive of an event, someone had to lose a canon line.
Some even suspected Dream wouldn't make it, but Ranboo, of all people, that was totally out of left field. What was even more out of left field was that he only had one life left. And wait a minute,
I didn't even know that.
Get into this situation? Why the hell was Ranboo in prison? Where did his 2 lives go? Did he even have lives in the first place? All of this points towards the fact that things concerning this character are much more complicated than we ever imagined, Enderwalking and all. And
100%.
what if I told you that I know for certain that they are? I mean, on the surface, there's already a few answers that seem simple enough. I mean, hadn't he wanted to go to the prison himself? But if you look deeper into it, that doesn't make any sense. Why would Sam put Ranboo in prison when he refused to do so earlier, and now Ranboo said repeatedly that he didn't want to anymore? What did Sam even mean when he said he'd lock him up and quote-unquote ask him some questions?
Never did get an answer for that.
Why did Sam use him as a hostage of all people? There are other members of the syndicate that are much more easily overpowered, after all. The answer is hinted at right at the very clip of him being taken by Sam. If you look closely enough, as he's being pushed, or should I say punched, towards the prison, he's trying to pick up a single grass block. That, dear viewer, is a distinctly Enderman characteristic.
Yes!
That could mean he actually switched into his Enderwalk straight under the stress while being locked up. But this still doesn't answer the
I see you, Animagician. I didn't even catch that. So maybe he was Enderwalking. Maybe he wasn't even Ranboo.
Question why Sam would take him prisoner, specifically why now? And actually there's an even more important question here, one that holds the key to literally telling us everything about the Dream SMP. No more secrets, no more plot twists. If we figure this out, we get it all. What was that valor-stealing prick? Connor eats pants! No, okay, no, we're not getting into that in this video. Well, Ranboo had been acting very suspicious around Sam for a while now. If we think back to the start of Dream's stint in jail, he'd been visiting Dream regularly, yet insisted later that he didn't remember any of it. He damaged the contracts instead of signing them regularly and had brought the mysterious 4th memory book with him into the cell, which Ranboo knows nothing about. Not only that, he was one of the few people around when Tommy got stuck in the cell, making him a prime suspect.
I think those books are going to have a really large role in future lore as well. Because there's also a Quackity book out there. I think there's an Awesome Dude book. There's another book that Dream XD created, like the Revival book, that we're thinking is the Death Note or the Book of Death.
For blowing up the TNT on top of the roof of the prison, on top of everything else. If anyone knows more about his connection to Dream, it has got to be Sam, who, on hearing explosions that were almost certainly from Ranboo, thought it important enough to lock down the entire prison for multiple weeks, while Obsidian, which covers the main cell, literally can't be blown up. There's definitely something going on with Ranboo that Sam knows about. We can even see that after Techno's breakout, despite Dream's request to make the prison more humane, Sam made the cell even more secure, which includes adding tinted glass and additional observers that would set off the alarms and summon the guards. It's not that far off to assume Sam might have also done some research, perhaps found an incriminating book, or finally connected the dots. Either way, it makes sense he would imprison Ranboo if he suspected he could be planning to break Dream out. If one of my prisoners blinked out of existence before my eyes, if they literally teleported away, I'd probably be paranoid too, not to mention that the person on my mind is a literal Enderman. One thing is for certain though, he must know something we don't. Why else would he use him specifically as a hostage to try and get Dream to return? Why would he expect Dream, of all people, to care about Ranboo? Ranboo was pretty vocal about disliking Dream, especially after Tommy's death. This means that Sam probably has additional information that made him think using Ranboo as leverage gave him a chance of getting Dream back in the prison. Something about Ranboo made him incredibly valuable to Dream, valuable enough for him to think that Dream would throw away the prison escape over keeping Ranboo alive. And from the way Dream reacted to the situation, it might seem like we're wrong. Dream was practically screaming at Techno to leave, right? But here's the catch. In a previous video about what Dream's big plan behind all of this is, which you will definitely want to watch after this, it's crazy, we assessed that Dream is known for not making people aware that someone is his ally. He does this specifically so that the knowledge can't be used against him, like by blackmail, and so the people who work with him don't get dragged into his self-destructive plans. It's actually kind of stupid to show how important the person is to you during a hostage situation, especially if you've been hiding your relationship for a long time for strategic purposes. By further separating himself from Ranboo, Dream actually lowered the chance of Sam killing him, because Sam would think Ranboo is useless and therefore let him go because he had no leverage over Dream. Unfortunately, we're talking about a guy who cut off somebody's arm for keycards that didn't even work anymore, killed multiple dogs because they belonged to his enemies, and still thought of himself as one of the good guys. Corrupted by an excessive responsibility as he was, Sam went through with his threats out of pure spite, and killed Ranboo for basically no reason in front of everyone, including people who actually cared about Ranboo like Technoblade, angering them in the process.
I mean, I think, chat, you can agree with me, like, all of us were upset when Ranboo died. Like, it just seemed like such a merciless kill that didn't need to happen, that happened for no reason. And gives you a Warden Sam face.
Seems even more irrational. But actually, it was pretty smart for Dream to take that risk. After all, the man's a literal necromancer, and if he locked himself up in prison for almost a year, Ranboo could chill in limbo for a few months. Really, though, Dream can bring him back whenever he wants to, or, well, whenever it would be least suspicious of him to do so, likely when he's asked to by someone else. And it doesn't seem like we're gonna have to wait too long for that to happen, as Technoblade is planning to request it the next time they cross paths. Point is, this whole debacle doesn't dictate at all whether Dream cares about Ranboo or not. He's merely covering his tracks so that Enderwalking Ranboo, the one who we know has helped Dream in the past, can remain his ally in the shadows. Alright, so that makes sense for why Sam killed him, but why in the world did he only have one life left? No one thought he was going to go straight to being a ghost. I mean, I don't even think he knew. Or
I didn't know.
He? After Ranboo, or well, Ghostboo, comes back, he explains that the fear of death was a great burden and that he feels much less anxious now. Could it be that the reason he's been such a people pleaser this whole time was because he wanted to avoid death? Because he knew he only had one life left? Perhaps it's just because he was a half Enderman. Charlie Slimeskull died after he was thrown into lava, and he was a mob as well. That would mean Ranboo's mob heritage could have caused him to have only one canon life. So, is that it? Case closed? Not so fast, because the answer is not at all. Because all that seems plausible, but only until you check the other sources. On the Z Twitter account, one ran by Ranboo, and which is intrinsically connected to the Enderwalk state, a video was posted, followed by replies from both Z and Ranboo, confirming they didn't know why his lives are gone. Even more, the video itself confirms that Ranboo did have 3 lives before he suddenly didn't. They were just gone, erased out of existence, as if they'd never been there in the first place. We were really close to the truth before, but there's still something missing. Enderwalking Ranboo could have easily just fallen in a pit at any point, could have been blown up by a creeper, could have died in any way, causing Ranboo to wake up in his bed and believe he'd been sleeping, despite the fact that he'd literally just died. But there are plenty of reasons to suspect it is way more complicated than that. Just think about it. Ranboo lost 2 lives, just like that. The animation in the tweet doesn't show them being destroyed or shattered, unlike the last one, which we know was lost via death. They just kind of fade out, and no one really knows why. But what if it all comes back?
But riddle me this, Batman. But
to Dream. Despite the fact that the voice in Ranboo's head has been confirmed to not be Dream, rather Ranboo's subconscious or something in that sense, these two definitely have a connection between them. And guess who else lost 2 lives recently during a so-called finale that turned out to have been fake? That's right, Tommy killed Dream twice. If Ranboo had 3 lives at the beginning, could that mean that his and Dream's lives are connected, like Bad Boy Hills and Skeppy's already are?
I'm liking this theory. Because we already know, right, that Dream and Ranboo are connected. Also, with us watching The Lost City of Mizzou, which takes place in the future, because Carl, lore-wise, is a time traveler, that Dream is Ranbob, which it's almost like they're connected. They're almost connected.
Since Skeppy and DVH have this connection, there's a precedent. It could be true. But there is yet another theory that is very interesting, because it directly connects Ranboo to the Revival book. Now, it makes sense that the Revival book would have some sort of drawback, right? A soul for a soul. Dream revived 2 people. First Tommy, then Wilbur. Ranboo lost, you guessed it, 2 lives out of nowhere. Coincidence? I think not. What if the Revive book somehow connected itself to Ranboo? What if the only reason why Wilbur and Tommy are alive is because they are living off of his lives? That would explain why when Sam took his last life, he ended up completely dead. It could also explain the white half of Ranboo. It's to do with the Revival book, and that's why upon revival, both Tommy and Wilbur had a white streak in their hair. It's a remnant from when the life they now lived off of was Ranboo's. Whether this was an unforeseen side effect or Dream did this on purpose, Ranboo had no idea. This also means that if this theory ends up being true, someone else is going to have to sacrifice some of their lives, lost lifestyle, in order to finally bring Ranboo back. You should watch this video about the rest of Dream's insane plan next. Subscribe.
Let's go. Yes, chat. Make sure you subscribe to Animagician. Congrats again, over 100K. Music? Oh, there we go. I really like that last theory. What if the Revival book and Ranboo are connected? And then he finished off by saying, what if someone had to give up their life to bring back Ranboo? So that makes you wonder, can the Revival book essentially just take anyone's life and transfer it to someone else? Because that would be a game changer on the Dream SMP. Essentially, anyone could come. I mean, the Revival book still does bring someone back, but I like that. That's some pretty good theories there. Animagician brought up some very valid points and definitely has the wheels in my head spinning. But let me know, chat, what do you guys think? Did you like the theories? Did you think they were too far out there? Or do you think logically they make pretty good sense for the Dream SMP? I had an absolute blast reacting this, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please help support the channel by smashing that subscribe and like button. It's absolutely free and it greatly helps out the channel. Enjoy your weekend. Have a Merry Christmas. And remember, it's eat, sleep, and make beats. And as usual, be kind to one another. And that's all I got. Boom. I'm out. Kind of love the Sauce Gang. Peace out, fam. Merry Christmas. Love ya.